Hello, I'm your host Elona Sebbane, and this is the International Eye. The goal of this project is to present the audience with different aspects of life across the globe. I interviewed people from all over the world. Mia Calvo, Caroline Samama from France, Daniel Ziri, Ingrid Lehrer from Israel, Sandy Giuziano from the United States, Ilya Tayyib from the United Kingdom, Sophie Rarely from Switzerland, Misha Madi and Erasmus Leofoyer from Spain, and last but not least, Adam Cohen from Canada. They will show their different lifestyles during the pandemic and talk about how they've been managing their time during quarantine. Hope you enjoy it.
I live in Geneva, Switzerland, and in a little city that's called Plan-les-Ouates in the countryside. I have 3 children, aged 12, 10, and 4. So they were all homeschooled. Obviously, the one that is 12 and 10, it was more like more intense with video conferences, work at home. And but even with the little one, we had like 2 or 3 video conference, and he received by mail some activities to work on. Actually, this is the thing I did a lot during the quarantine is the cooking. So obviously they were staying home, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I got a lot of pleasure doing it, and I kind of try to make new things. And I baked a lot with my daughter because she liked pastries, so it was really nice. Honestly, it was not something like, oh my God, we have to stay home. It was like, okay, it's nice, we're gonna spend time together. We have a garden, so the kids could just go out. So because we had such a beautiful weather, they were all the time outside, and we were just like, hanging around and making things together. Everybody, I think, like really chose carefully the people they wanted to see. Now that everything is open, I'm a bit relieved. It's good to have a outside life again, but still we have to stay very vigilant because it's not finished.
We are presently in Sevilla, south of Spain, in Andalusia, very much the capital of
the region,
of the southern region. It has been a wonderful surrounding, extremely supportive.
When it first started, they announced it in 2-week spurts. And Spain was one of the hardest hits early on, and started with Italy in Europe, and then Spain caught up a few weeks after, and it was pretty intense at first. It's life as normal and school and going to classes. Then we found out the severity of this lockdown, which meant no one would be allowed to leave their house except for limited pharmacy visits or buying groceries. Since it lasted a lot longer, and now we're allowed to walk around again, but it's 3.5 months after the initial announcement of quarantine. I'd say the first 2 weeks when everything was up in the air, the first week felt a bit like vacation. And then the second week, after the first week into the second week, everything's being thrown off, and you start questioning and not having the same routines. A month in, I'd say we started really getting more of a routine, and a lot of classes and stuff started happening via Zoom. I don't know if you've watched Zoom's stock prices, but they jumped up for a reason. So a lot of the classes started happening online, and we got our curriculum, and the same thing with dance classes and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Even though you're wrestling your own shadow, at least there's some sort of structure that you could follow. So that was helpful. The moment they let people go outside to exercise, so they eased up in phases. And the phase where people were allowed out, even if it was only 2 hours in the morning and evening, to run or bike or do non-contact exercises. Both Michelle and I went on our bikes along the river, and there were, I've never seen the river so packed with people. Everybody invented an excuse to go exercising. So it's like people in a long line of bicycles and running, or being able to take a short walk. No one's allowed to really stop. But it was pretty explosive.
So for me, additional activities were definitely one of the most fun was watching Raz painting his BJJ on our flamenco floor. But I did a little bit more of indulging in gardening, and my go-to when it comes to moments like this is to write. A lot of writing, a lot of cooking for both of us. We championed his kitchen, and I can't even. I'm just speechless with what we have been able to enjoy in terms of super fresh salad combination with stuff from upstairs and super elaborate Rasmussen style. We had time to cook because Spain has been affected tremendously and has been so organized, so respectful. Nobody in the streets condemning any measure. It was touching, and it is still extraordinary to measure with what cooperation and resources. And today, the huge proportion of people entering stores with a mask, but also circulating in the streets with a mask. It is hot in Spain.
In Canada, Montreal.
So during quarantine, I created my YouTube channel. So I edit my videos on a computer, and either I write my videos or I just go in front of the camera and speak. They're in French. The YouTube channel is called Adam, Adam, something like that. I can't really pronounce it.
Madame, j'ai le regret de vous dire que votre fils a attrapé le coronavirus. Quoi? Le coronavirus? Pardon d'intervenir, mais le vrai nom en fait c'est Covid-19. Tu m'as la boucle, oui?
Also during quarantine, I did homeschool and Zoom classes. That's what I did. I did a lot of cooking. That's something I don't do a lot. Sometimes I walked, of course, with a mask, and I don't see a lot of people wearing masks. Some of them, but most of the people are not wearing them. They're not really being careful. It was not really fun quarantine. I didn't like it, like most of the people I know. So that's it.
I'm living in Israel in Ness Tzioda. It's about 20 minutes from Tel Aviv. I was familiar with the situation because I work with international students. People were not conscious about it. They were not aware about it. So we were very concerned, and we were also in contact with people that were coming all the time to our office from different countries. From mid-March, they stopped flights, incoming flights to Israel. And I think that until almost mid-April, there was a lockdown. Not a complete lockdown all the time, but we had holidays during those times. So during the holidays, things were completely locked down. And it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't for such a long time. It wasn't for such a long time. And it felt that it was the right thing at the right moment. They've been speaking now for about 2 weeks about the second wave. The second wave is about to start, and that things are not contained for 2 reasons. I think that the first reason is, of course, the economy. We had to reopen everything because it is not feasible in the long term to do that. You can't deal with the poverty, with an economy without a future. So it's not feasible. Apparently, the second wave is due to the opening of the schools. A lot of schools are, opening, and then I was working but from home. But we are back physically to work, and you have to commute. And my son is at school in the afternoons. He finishes quite early at 1 o'clock, but in the afternoon he goes to his classes, basketball, and all kind of classes. So that was for the Independence Day. So there was a lockdown during Independence Day, and so my colleague decided to ask the people from our building through WhatsApp if they want to participate in making a Magen David, Star of David, outside the building, and send the movie to a channel of TV. So everybody feels the same here. We speak about it a lot with our friends, and everybody feels the same. It is very, very difficult to go back to the new routine. We call it the new routine. The key thing is to understand that it is going to be here for a long time. I think that 2 months ago we were thinking that, okay, it is going to, we don't know for how long it is going to be. That's what we were thinking, I think, a couple of months ago. But now the answer is completely different. We do know for how long it is going to be like that, and it is going to be like that for a long time. And we need to accept it and to find a way to live with it. The new normal is not knowing what is going to happen tomorrow. The past weeks have been also very difficult for parents and also for kids. And to enjoy the moment that you are in right now, to enjoy it, because you don't know what is going to happen the day after.